hang on to your seats to find the one who can save the human race. One man does not exist.
Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Rutcat Fitness where I'm talking to myself. But that's okay because I have to practice talking anyway. I can't be silent all the time. So I'm glad someone's listening, maybe. Alright, so in this episode, what am I going to talk about? How to eat healthy on the go, eating while traveling to keep healthy. And why am I telling you this? To be energetic, to not feel sleepy, to stay healthy longer, to have a better immune system, to get better sleep, to live longer essentially. So I know this because I've been eating healthy for many years now, and I can tell you from experience, for spending time reading a lot about nutrition, comparing calories, figuring out things, experiments. And why do I know this? How do I know this? Because I've been traveling 2 years internationally, 1 year of living abroad. So I'm going to talk about Western food versus non-Western food and other types of food. Here's the overview. In this episode, I'm going to talk about diets, different diets, types of foods, complex carbs or simple carbs, types of fasting. So that means like when you should eat, how many meals you should eat, what you should have for breakfast, night, dinner, nightclub, outdoors, indoors, international food, Mexican, Korean, Italian, Japanese, what's healthy in those, what's not. I'm going to try to focus on first on low budgets and then high budgets first because it's probably going to be a smaller group of people, and then low budgets like most people can hopefully afford. So it's not going to be about having the best, most delicious, healthy food. It's just going to be about getting healthy food with some good flavor, not like cardboard tasting stuff. Alright, here we go let's start. First, say that choosing a diet is important. So once you choose something, you should stick with it for at least 30 days. And why 30 days? It's because science has shown that it takes your time to adjust to any food changes. Because think about your digestion. It doesn't happen instantly. It takes hours. It takes hours from the time you put something in your mouth and it goes out the other way. So that's what I mean is that, like the saying goes, you are what you eat. Okay, not 100% true, but it is definitely accurate. When you're choosing a diet, when you're trying any of these tips, just remember that you have to be consistent. One day is not going to change your feeling if you've been eating chocolate every day. It's going to take some time, but hopefully with my motivation and my Instagram cool pics, you'll continue this new challenge of eating healthy. So for example, these are some of the diets I've tried, and I recommend you also try. First, another thing is like not one single diet is going to be perfect for everybody. So there's things like genetics and people's environments, and you just have to experiment. That's what I did, and that's what I suggest you do too with certain diets. So you have like Keto, paleo, Atkins, which is just low carb. Those are like the three main diets I focused on, and I can't think of any other top of my head because those are the three that worked for me. Keto, like getting into ketosis, is probably one of the hardest, is where you burn fat through eating fats and vegetables and proteins, but having very little carbs. So that's going to be very challenging, but it works. Paleo is another diet. It's the raw eating type of diet where you eat meats and vegetables, no dairy products, and also very low carb. Then you have Atkins diet, which is just low carb, so you can eat a lot of stuff. So those are the basic diets. And then also the other important thing is you should check for allergies. I don't want you to get sick. I don't want you to feel worse, for sure. So if you have any allergies, you're going to have to find an exception or message me on Instagram. Maybe I can help you find a substitute for something you have allergies with. Like for me personally, I used to love nuts, and I think I've gotten some allergies recently from nuts, so I gotta be careful with nuts now. And it makes me very disappointed, but I have to find some other substitutes. Next thing about food is like complex carbs versus simple carbs, good fats versus bad fats, processed food versus raw food. So going into detail about those is that it's probably going to be best for another future episode because I can talk in length about that. But I'm telling you this more to be aware of complex carbs versus simple carbs. So an example is like sweet potato has nutrients. A regular potato does not. So the regular potatoes can be simple carbs, which are unhealthy, and then complex carbs are the healthier type, like the sweet potato. So that's one example. Broccoli is another example. Broccoli has some carbs, but those are complex and healthy. And then you have some like brown rice over white rice. White rice has very little nutrition, whereas brown rice has some good nutrition value. Then you have the good fats versus bad fats. You have the good fats would be nuts, some fruits like avocados, or vegetables like avocados, and the bad fats would be just like vegetable oil, hydrogenated oil, and chips and fried food. So we got to stay away from those. And then you have the processed versus raw food. So if you buy like chicken tenders, it's somewhat processed. If you buy chicken nuggets, that's definitely very processed. Versus if you just buy like a chicken breast and you grill it or pan fry it, that's a huge difference in the types of food. Also vegetables too. If you have broccoli and you steam it, broccoli is going to have a lot of nutrients raw, but it's hard to eat it raw. So you definitely want to steam it a bit where it's not too hard, also not too soft, because then a lot of the nutrients will be boiled away. So there you go. That describes the types of diets, foods, and let's get into meal timing and how much you should eat, how often, and fasting. So to lose weight, it's going to be different than people that want to gain weight. So I would focus on losing weight and suggest you do intermittent fasting. If you haven't tried it, the reason it works is because you eat within an 8-hour window and you get all the nutrients as you need. You get all the calories as you need. You can eat multiple meals. You can actually like have bigger portions. But then after that 8-hour window during that day, you're not gonna eat at all. And I mean, you can have water and like coffee, but you don't want to eat any types of foods that's gonna give you calories, even like milk. That's not recommended for intermittent fasting. And intermittent fasting, another benefit is not just losing weight, but feeling like more energetic throughout the day. I've tried it, and another example of intermittent fasting, like what I do is like I would skip breakfast. If I'm cutting back, I want to lose weight, I wake up, skip breakfast, don't eat for probably 4 or 5 hours. If I would go to the gym in the afternoon, like lunchtime, then I would only eat after the gym, and that would be my lunch. It would probably be also the biggest meal. Then a couple hours later, I'll have a smaller meal, and then for dinner another small meal. So I try to go to have at least 2 or 3 meals. And if I'm trying to gain weight, then I'll have like 6 meals where they're not huge portions, and it's not intermittent fasting for sure. But when I wake up, I'll have eggs, a couple of eggs with half the yolk removed. So that gives me a lot of essential amino acids and proteins without any carbs. So I don't do the fruits. I used to, but very little now. Because I mean, fruits, even though they have vitamins and nutrients, it's just they also have a lot of sugar. So if you love fruits, you're gonna have to cut back or have very little amount of servings. And I mean, you're not gonna lose anything for giving up fruits. Fruits are actually more expensive vegetables most places. Like bananas, yeah, you have potassium. So those things, like if you're trying to gain weight, you can have fruits. But if you're trying to lose weight, just really, really cut back on fruits. If you want fruits, you're gonna have to have the low-calorie ones, like maybe watermelon, like the juicy ones, because they have a lot of water and not many calories. So going to the meals per day, I average between 3 to 6 meals. And then when you think of portions, here's the thing about portions. Yes, you can have like one big meal, one buffet. I like to do that when I'm traveling, because then that buffet I can eat everything in one sitting, get majority of my calories for the day. But the downside is like it stretches my stomach, so I get a full stomach, and then I will feel slightly tired, or it'll be more difficult for me to walk or do any type of exercise. So that's like one of the things that has good and bad about it, is you get good food, a lot of calories for trying to gain weight, but after you eat, you're gonna have to relax. You're gonna have to not do any physical activity because you'll be so full and your stomach will stretch. So not the best idea, but still a good one as a travel option. So if you're trying to lose weight, you can start off by having intermittent fasting, skipping breakfast, going to a buffet, getting the type of meal first, or the type of sticking to that diet. So don't go to buffet just because I said that you can eat anything. Still, when you're at a buffet, you should only eat the healthy options like proteins and very little carbs. So when you dig into that food, get your meats and vegetables first before touching any rice, potatoes, or any of that, and slowly taper off once you get used to the meal changes. And then let's talk about if you have to have breakfast. Say you wake up super early and you can't wait a couple hours to eat. What you should do, the first thing, is drink water. Half a liter of water every morning. Why do I say water? Because your body is mostly made of water, and it's essential to have water, not coffee. Even though water and coffee, it can be another episode to talk about. There's in length, but that water that you have in the morning is essential. It'll make you feel better. It'll make you less dependent on coffee, and especially if you add a squirt of lemon juice. If I have lemons near me or in a store, I can buy them. I definitely have water with lemon juice in the morning. So that's super important. And then if you're going to eat after that water, definitely do something with no carbs, such as hard-boiled eggs. You can have coffee. If you have coffee, try to get the almond milk versus the regular milk, because regular milk's got carbs and fats. So almond milk is less than that. Soy milk is less the carbs and fats. And that would be a good breakfast to have. Just hard-boiled eggs, coffee with almond milk, and water. And you'll notice that after a couple of eggs with the yolk taken out, you'll have a decent breakfast. You'll still have that energy to continue the rest of the day or to your next meal. So yeah, for breakfast, do that. What else? Oh yeah, so like I mentioned the almond milk because carbs are addictive, and when you're drinking milk, it's addictive. I love milk, even without sugar. Just like regular milk is just so tasty because it's got carbs. It's got the type of sugar that makes it addictive, like any other types of sugars. So remember, when you drink coffee, try to switch to almond milk or soy milk. Also, try to carry water with you wherever you go. If you're on the go, traveling, have water always near you, because that's gonna make you fill up your stomach and be less hungry, have a less appetite, and you'll be less likely to drink coffee. So if someone's thirsty, usually think of something that has some carbs or flavor to quench their thirst, even including myself. But if I just remember that water rule, that I always have water with me, always have water around me, I'll be less likely to drink alternatives. And definitely, like right now, I have water with me because if I'm not used to talking so much. If I'm talking on this podcast, I'm gonna have a dry mouth and get thirsty, so I'm gonna take a sip of water right now. Alright, so let's continue on to additional stuff. Let's say you had that breakfast and you want to eat again, 3 to 6 meals. So about 2 hours later, you can have your next meal, and after that, you can have your next meal when you have the smaller portions. But what about let's see, if you're eating for or if you want to go out at night. So we discussed like breakfast, having lunch in the buffet. How about if you want to stay healthy, including nighttime, if you want to go out and you're traveling, because that's one of the things I like to do is, experience the nightlife. People are drinking, people are eating. If you're joining groups, you have friends with you, or you don't, you'd be tempted to try like the local food. But this is crucial. Try not to eat late at night, and that not just means like couple hours before you go to sleep, like maybe 4 or 5 hours before you go to sleep. So also be careful with the alcohol, because if you drink alcohol, that makes you more hungry too. So my recommendations for nightlife drinking is light beer. The first thing, if you want to have beer, just a light beer for low calories, maybe 1 or 2. And then if you want to drink more, or if you already had a lot of calories, if you prefer cocktails, do whiskey or vodka, your favorite cocktails, okay, but what you mix it with is the big deal. So I will mix my cocktail with soda water. It's just carbonated water. Some countries call it mineral water, and it gives me that the bubble effect of like I'm drinking soda without the sugar. And I'll even put lime on it, so my drink doesn't need to be sweet, because I'm just gonna sip on it and get drunk after a few drinks, but I won't have to worry about having a lot of calories. So another option is Diet Coke. If they don't have soda water, you can mix your drink with Diet Coke. Diet Coke is gonna make you more hungry. It's gonna have some caffeine, but it's not gonna have that sugar. Also, try not to have any juices, because if you do have that cocktail, most juices will have sugar. Like last resort for juice would be either lemon juice or pineapple juice. Pineapple juice is not too sweet like cranberry juice or orange juice. So opt out for soda water, Diet Coke, or pineapple juice. So hopefully that sticks to your mind about nightlife drinks. And don't eat, just don't do it. Okay, just remember, beer has calories. If people are offering you snacks and food, usually the bar food, late night food is worse. Maybe you can just like take a bite of one tiny food, one small thing, just so your friends, like if they're offering, you won't disappoint them, but don't eat more than that. Alright, the next topic for travelers, get back into traveling. Let's focus about the high budget. So if you are out and you are traveling and have room service at your luxury hotel, your room service is gonna have a menu of stuff, and maybe it's gonna have a great chef and it's gonna be delicious food, but don't be too concerned about changing the food and requesting special changes, because if you're at a hotel and it's fancy, there's customer service, there's room service, they should be able to change the food with no problem. So like if you get a sandwich, if you get some meal, just ask, say like if it's like a chicken sandwich or grilled chicken with 2 side items, salad and maybe french fries, I'll do this. I'll just say, hey, can I have 2 salads instead of the french fries? And usually that's not an issue at the hotel room service. So if there is a sandwich, there's a bun, and they do bring it, because they'll probably be awkward getting the sandwich without the bun, just don't eat the bun. That's it. Just eat the meat inside the sandwich first, and the last resort, maybe just like take a bite of the bun, and throw the rest of it away. Just to keep the carbs low, thinking you're gonna lose weight, because you are, from taking my advice. For room service, that's for good budgets. Works for hotel restaurants too. When you're going out, get weird looks, but yeah, just stay confident about it. Say, hey, I'm trying to lose weight, I'm trying to live a healthier life. This was recommended to me by my fitness coach. And then people be like, oh, okay, I'm used to it. When I started making weird requests, people were kind of surprised, but I just say, hey, I'm a fitness expert, okay? I'm a fitness expert. I know what I'm talking about, okay? And I don't try to sound cocky or arrogant about it. I'll just, smile and say, please, of course, to that. So if they can't make that special request, then I'll look for like another item I can have, maybe a salad. Usually hotels have salads. Gotta watch out for the dressing. There's healthy and unhealthy dressings. And another thing is, you have little time, you're traveling because you're a business guy, you're gonna try maybe food delivery apps. Food delivery apps are good. I use food delivery apps because just to experiment with trying. I don't need to save too much time. I rather just like go to a place, make sure it's a good quality. Because with food delivery apps, you can rarely change it. You can't put in the requests to make something change, like getting rid of a bun or changing a side option. So just the food delivery option, I'm mentioning it as far as convenience. So if you're busy, if you're working at a hotel, at an office, the food delivery apps is just there for convenience. And let's talk about the types of foods there are, what to eat and what to avoid. Internationally, we're going to go over Mexican food, Korean food, Italian, Japanese, and some Western food. Alrighty, here are the do's and don'ts of eating worldwide food from different regions, starting with Western food. Here's what you should avoid. No fried food, no barbecue sauce, no ketchup, no butter, no baked beans. Those are the main things. Why? Because fried food is just, oil is just not good. Frying stuff is not good. It's very fatty. You're definitely not going to lose any weight with doing that. No matter if you use even any good oils like coconut oil, just avoid deep fried foods. And then for barbecue sauce, it is delicious. You know why? Because it has sugar. It's usually based out of molasses, tomatoes, and lots of sugar. So avoid barbecue sauce. So like I say, if you get ribs, make sure you get ribs with a dry rub, not with the rib sauce. Also, no ketchup. Avoid ketchup at all costs. I know it's good with fries. I know it's good on a lot of things. Like some countries, they put ketchup on pizza. But avoid ketchup because it's mostly sugar too. And then no butter. Do not have butter as a topping, as a side. Try to avoid it because like stuff like fish is already fatty, so you don't need extra butter to dip your fish in. Or if you have like lobster or crab legs, do not dip it in butter because it's a lot of fat. And then no baked beans. I'm a bean lover. I love beans, but not the baked beans you get in country style southern food because that's also full of sugar. If you're gonna do beans, try to do like pinto beans, black beans, beans that are baked without sugar. So that includes chili. Avoid chili. Chili is high in fat. The do's. Here are the do's for Western food. Grilled chicken, my favorite. Have that if you can. Seasoned, of course, with salt and pepper or other seasonings is okay, as long as it's not buttery or barbecue. So, and how about baked or pan-seared fish? Fish is definitely always a good option. And remember, fish is fatty in general, so when you have it prepared, make sure it's also not deep fried. Get that fish pan-seared or baked, including salmon and tuna. Those are even better choices. Of course, salmon and tuna are going to be a little bit more expensive, but still affordable in Western countries. And how about veggies? Veggies for broccoli is my favorite after hating it. Many kids hating it. Broccoli is delicious, just with a little bit of salt. You just need to steam it, boil it, and then put a little bit of salt on it, and then it's a good vegetable with lots of nutrients. Spinach as well. If you're gonna have a salad, remember lettuce doesn't have any nutrients, but spinach has lots of nutrients. The rule of thumb here is just the greener it is, the more likely it's gonna have nutrients. Green beans, another good choice. Not as good as the other vegetables, but still green beans, string beans are good side items that are cooked by steaming or boiling. Asparagus is a great option too for a side for a vegetable. And also corn. So corn is questionable. There's no really benefit to corn, so I wouldn't recommend it. I know it's tasty, delicious, especially with salt and butter, but try to avoid corn. It's really not useful. And you get corn syrup because in US a lot of plantations exist to make corn, and that's why you get corn syrup and sugary products that have the ingredient corn syrup or high fructose corn syrup. So avoid that. Avoid it at all costs. If you are going to have any toppings or sides, just do hot sauce. Hot sauce is a safe bet. The worst thing about hot sauce is just it can be salty. It has a high concentration of salt, but the vinegar and the spices are good. So spicy food is not for everyone, but if you can handle spicy food, the fact that it makes you sweat and makes you hotter is going to increase your metabolism. So think of that side. All right, that concludes the Western food. Let me tell you about Mexican food. My second favorite food is Mexican food. What do I like about it and what you should avoid? So avoid Mexican food. This is a lot of carbs, but you can eat stuff that's not carb heavy. So tortillas have tons of carbs. I know it's thinner than bread and takes up less space, but like one tortilla for a burrito can be more than 50 grams of carbs. So if you have a burrito, just like order a burrito, open it, unwrap it on your plate, and just eat the inside. Do not eat the tortilla. Same with chips. When you have food and they give you free chips at a Mexican restaurant, just say no chips, because chips are tortillas that are fried, so avoid that. And then the third part to avoid is rice. Rice in Mexican style is like rice, white rice, but with seasoning and other unnecessary spices that just give you carbs. So avoid rice. And no refried beans. Beans in Mexican food are good, but all types of beans have carbs. Some beans have more protein than others, like black beans. So if you're going to have beans, always choose black beans. No refried beans, because those are just pinto beans with lard and salt. Not what you want in your diet. So remember, the good part is choose. If you're going to have anything in burrito, haul off the rice and get black beans. Salsa is a good choice for a side, for a topping. Guacamole. Guacamole is made out of avocados, so if you're doing ketosis, it's okay. You can have guacamole. If you're not doing ketosis, just have a little bit, because that's the healthy type of fat. And any grilled meat. When it comes to Mexican food, grilled pork, grilled chicken, grilled beef are all great choices. Grilled fish. But don't get the fish tacos, because most likely the fish tacos are going to have fried fish. So avoid that. And now for Korean food. I'm not a huge fan of Korean food. It's got some good parts and some bad parts. So let me tell you about that. And I do know about Korean food because I lived in Korea. So when you're ordering Korean food, in Korea there's fried chicken everywhere. They're all about the fried chicken. But grilled chicken is so hard to find. So when you go to have some Korean food, avoid fried chicken. Avoid barbecue pork, because I'm used to getting pork with less fat, but when I go to eat Korean food, they include so much fat in the pork slices, and the pork belly, that's mostly fat. I would say 80% fat of a pork belly, or 80% is pork belly, and like 20% is the actual pork. Then another favorite part for Korean food is mozzarella. They put cheese and a lot of stuff, and that mozzarella is good, but not in the huge amounts they put in there. Also, Koreans like sweet food, so they put honey on a bunch of toppings. So avoid having too much, or no honey at all. Like, it's just too sweet. It's not worth having that honey. Alright, so now that I tell you the bad things, here are the good things about Korean food. Bibimbap, kimchi, tofu, those are the things that I could eat and have not spend a lot of money for. So bibimbap, that's, let me see if I can explain it. It's just a bowl with rice. It has some vegetables, and usually you can get it with beef and egg, and it's like pan seared, so it's not greasy, it's not fatty. It has a good combination of food. Now kimchi is good because it has it's a cabbage. It has some vegetables, but you have to eat it in limited quantities because kimchi is also very spicy. And remember what I said, spicy. It has a lot of salt. And the third part you can eat about Korean food that's very affordable is tofu. Tofu is in abundance, and that's another questionable food because tofu, especially if it comes from soybean, it's known for having that estrogen. But hey, if you have Korean food once in a while, it's okay. You don't need to worry about tofu. I mean, I had tofu almost every day when I was in Korea, but just for a short time, shouldn't make a big deal. It's gonna have that protein that you need, so it's a better option than anything. And just don't get fried tofu. Tofu is good when it's like boiled in soup. When it's pan-seared, it's okay too. But I'm just really surprised about Korean food and their chicken. Why is it so hard to grill chicken? It's like, I feel like, I know Koreans are smart, but they just can't grill chicken. What's up with that? They have fried chicken, but it's hard to find grilled chicken. All right, let's move on to Japanese food. And I haven't lived in Japan yet, but I do love Japanese food. And let me just say that Japanese very, very healthy food. What do you think Japanese live long? It's like known for Japanese to be like 100 years old. And I think it's because of the food. And they're also very thin. There's very little obesity in Japan. And that's because they eat healthy. It's as simple as that. So when you do eat Japanese food, avoid anything that says katsu, because katsu is fried. Like that means like chicken katsu would be fried chicken. Tempura means like fried vegetables. So they're breaded and fried. Not a good type of food, even it is vegetables. And then ramen, like a lot of people love ramen, but I just don't. I never tried a good ramen. So the noodles are just full of carbs. And when I was in Japan, I tried to like ramen, and I remember just getting tons of noodles and very little bit of meat or any other toppings. But soup is just generally a good choice. Just don't eat many of the noodles. What you should eat when you're eating Japanese food is the fish. So you're gonna have sushi and a little bit of rice, shrimp, and a little bit of rice. And what else? Tobiko, which is like the eggs from fish, or caviar is another name for it. And then you can also get chicken teriyaki. Chicken teriyaki is actually grilled, so it's not fried. And you have the option to have less sauce on there. With chicken teriyaki, the sauce is sweet. So when you do order it, make sure you don't get extra sauce, or just ask for a little bit of sauce, because that it's got sweet and salty. It's like soy sauce with sugar. It's good and flavorful, but don't get too much of it. All right, how about Italian food? People love Italian food, and that's because it is very tasty. Italian food has popularity, especially pizza. I love pizza myself, but there's very little nutrition value about Italian pizza. So avoid pizza. Avoid lasagna, avoid anything with a lot of cheese, avoid the pastas. There is good parts about Italian food, and here they are. Chicken cacciatore, I think that's how you say it right. Beef carpaccio, that's thin sliced beef. And then chicken piccata, that is a baked type of chicken, so it's not fried. I think it's covered with some breading, but it is not a fried food. And when you're getting sides of Italian food, great choices are artichoke hearts. That's an interesting flavor. I love artichoke hearts. And salads. They make pretty good salads, except in the pizzerias, because they just put like thick chunks of tomatoes on lettuce, which is weird. I don't know why they would make that a salad. But when you do get Italian dressing, make sure you get it light, so it's less fatty. And balsamic dressing, those are my two favorite for Italian food. And if you have salads and sides, just remember, get anything that's not fried, artichoke hearts, and that's it. Italian food, there's not many options for healthy food, especially when you get it in the West countries. I haven't been to Italy, so I don't know about other foods. That's why this part is brief. Now let's discuss Indian food. Indian food is super tasty. It is delicious, spicy, has a lot of options, but at the same time it's tasty because it's made of a lot of buttery ingredients with spices, such as anything with the name paneer, ghee, malai. Just try to avoid those because they have a lot of fat. The ones you do want to eat are chicken tandoori, shrimp tandoori, lamb tandoori, which just means baked, I think. I'm not sure, but all of those should be baked foods. And for the sides, the good sides are lentils, spinach, and chickpeas. Those are good vegetables to come with Indian food. And then naan. Naan is just the Indian word for bread. It is delicious, I know, because it's just such a chewy dough, but try to avoid it. Make sure you save that for your cheat day. And then last but not least I can mention is Thai food. Avoid all Thai food. It is too delicious. It is true what they say. Thailand is the street food capital. All of it's delicious. Anything that's coconut and chicken, I love it. But it is just go for the grilled stuff. Do not get the fried stuff. So that covers up the food regions. And then I do want to mention food for low budgets. Especially if you're like live in the suburbs, you may have less options, or just like fast food chains. And as much as I hate them, like sometimes I even go there to myself because it's like, hey, I don't want to spend a lot of money, but need my nutrients. So what can I get? And with fast food, I noticed they vary from like region to region, so they don't have the same options. But the last resort type of food you want from fast food restaurants would be something like chicken tenders, a burger, but without the bun. So if you have like a chicken sandwich versus a burger, the burger will have fat too, but it's not fried. So I choose that, but they're both almost equally not too good. And then the salads, a lot of the fast foods try to offer a decent selection of something healthy, but those are the type of salads you would have with just lettuce and maybe like grilled chicken. Like McDonald's would have that, and I would consider that still a last resort type of food. And then regarding the dressing, make sure you get a good dressing, and that would be something like balsamic vinaigrette or low-fat Italian dressing. Do avoid ranch because that's just mostly fat and salt. Do avoid Thousand Island because that's mostly fat, and honey mustard dressing is also full of fat. So if you do get dressing, just make it like balsamic vinaigrette or light ranch, or just olive oil. Olive oil also makes a good dressing. It makes the chewing of the salad a little more easier, but still, those are last resort options. Try to avoid fast food at all costs. But if you're in a low budget, traveling, or you have nothing else near you, stick to those options, because I even had to do it myself. I wanted extra protein for the day, and I was in Korea, and I didn't want to have any of the pork, the barbecue pork, and I saw like a KFC, they had a special promo, like 3 chicken tenders for $1, and I just ate it. I had it. It was better than nothing, because even though those chicken tenders are fried, it was better for me because I'm trying to gain weight and not lose weight. So if you're trying to lose weight, don't do that. But if you're trying to gain weight, muscle, then make sure you eat your calories and stay healthy. And that's it. That covers the podcast for eating on the go, eating healthy. Make sure you subscribe, follow me on Nightclub Fitness. Peace.